Talking about this new report, you just released it today. I want to kind of broaden this out and kind of just bring this message to our audience. Why is it important to fix this issue for Black Americans? What's the impact if we fix it for not only Black Americans and all Americans on the economy, things like GDP?
Yeah. So look, Frank, I mean, you hit some of the main stats at the start of this, but why does it matter? Affordable quality housing drives economic mobility. I mean, it provides access to education, essential services, access to job opportunities. And one thing I want to emphasize is affordable housing needs to be in the context of mixed income housing. There's been a lot of work done on what will drive economic mobility, and it really is around mixed communities and folks with lower income living proximate to folks with more resources, and that really gets the economic engine moving.
All right, so it gets that economic engine moving. Can you put like a number on it? Like what's the impact on GDP, or what's the potential impact overall when it comes to inflation and things like that? Obviously, housing costs are a big part of the inflation story.
Yeah. So look, you said it. As of 2023, we think there are around 8 million units missing, if you will, in the United States. And we think that that number will continue to grow and could hit around 10 million by 2035 without action. The good news is if we act across the private, the public, and the social sector, we can really address and make a big dent in this. We think it could be worth somewhere around $2 trillion of GDP by 2035, just if you got 30 to 40% of this gap closed. So this is really meaningful economic opportunity at the macro level, and certainly will change the trajectory of individual lives. So it's really important.
All right, I want to talk about some other things in the news very quickly. Obviously, artificial intelligence. We were just talking about it here on the show. The vice president over in Paris at a summit talking about the development of it there. When we're talking about the Black community, what's the potential impact of some of these rapid developments in AI when it comes to holding jobs and potentially also businesses?
Yeah, I mean, Frank, this is a trend that we've been watching for a number of years now, and certainly, the advent and popularity of Gen AI as it goes mainstream has only kind of upped the urgency around this. So we estimate that somewhere around 60% of gateway jobs, so entry-level jobs, could be severely impacted by AI and Gen AI. And what do we know historically? Black Americans are disproportionately represented in these entry-level jobs. And so this presents a challenge for us all as a society, but certainly some groups will be harder hit. And so we've got to be really thoughtful about how we future-proof the skill set, how we build these dynamic systems to up and reskill and really reimagine jobs of the future as AI automates a lot of the work that many of us have been doing traditionally.
Interesting stat from one of your reports, only 2% of tech companies here in the U.S. are Black-owned. One last topic we got to touch on, tariffs. Back in the news today with steel and aluminum tariffs. Is there a tariff impact on Black businesses? A lot of people don't know this, but the overwhelming majority of Black businesses are solo entrepreneurs, just that one person that owns the business, working in the business. How does that impact them?
Yeah, Frank, look, I mean, obviously the tariff discussion is moving quickly. It's incredibly complex to kind of untangle the net impact of all the different tariffs that are being discussed. So I think it's a bit early to speculate, but what we do know is that inflation tends to disproportionately harm Black Americans and also Black businesses that tend to be a bit smaller. And so no sense yet for where this is going, but one thing that I noted that I know you're aware of is there's been some rising expectations around inflation over the last couple of weeks. And as you know, expectations of inflation can trigger reality. And so watching very closely what happens here, and Black Americans and Black families, they don't have the savings or the income space to really weather additional inflation. So this is something that I'm quite concerned about and watching closely.